You know, I kind of love it when the weather's like this, because we really have a captured audience. I walk in here with like a bunch of little bunnies all huddled in a hole. The wind's blowing out there. People say it's freezing cold down here. It's freezing. I said, I came from Detroit. I left Detroit, it was 12 below zero. 12 below zero was cold, guys. This is pretty balmy for Detroit. It's almost Gulf weather if it wasn't so windy. We got a big group here. Big group here. I looked all the cars out there. I got here in time to see you guys all heading out for your parade. How many did the parade lap this morning? Was that any good? That's pretty cool, isn't it? I gotta tell you, the importance of that isn't just, you know, you can go back and say, yeah, I took a lap around the high banks of Daytona. I think you guys, as really dedicated race fans, it gives you a true perspective of what those drivers see day and night. I think it gives you a whole different respect for what they got to do, both in the sunlight, in the dark, in the rain. I mean, it's a tricky surface on which to get around. What is it, 3.2 miles, something like that? I mean, you think you can run like that 24 hours? I mean, I'm glad you guys get to do that. I really am, because it's pretty unique. I remember the first time I went around here, this is a number of years ago, and I'd done some racing in a previous lifetime, and I was really kind of looking forward to it. And I wasn't driving, I was riding. I was getting a ride around here. And so we're, you know, accelerating, we're on the apron through 1 and 2, we're up on the banking through 3. We didn't have the little dog leg there. And as we're getting down the backstretch, we're moving up, heading into 3, and we're up on the banking. And I can just remember looking down, and my first sensation was, this goddamn thing's gonna roll over. I mean, when you get up there and you're tipped sideways, it's like you think the whole car's going down. I thought, man, this is really something. You get acclimated to it, you get used to it, and then you run around at speed. It's kind of second nature. But this is a very, very, very unique place in so many different aspects. Share a little story with you today. Had a little reunion down in pit lane while we were out for our 10 a.m. session. Dale Jr. came by. He was, yeah. He's here. He's going to be doing some stuff for NBC on the show. They've got a little booth set up for him. They're going to be doing some driver interviews during the course of the race. We'll get back to that in a little bit. But it was very emotional for both of us to be back in that pit lane. Kind of remembering back in 2001 when he and his dad were here. And you guys got to remember, the last checkered flag Dale Sr. ever saw was right here in Corvette. The last time he saw it, and it's. You know how I feel about that whole thing. It's a little difficult for me to talk about, but it was kind of neat getting together with him and reminiscing and hanging out. And he's a fine young man. I mean, he is definitely a product of his father. He's a great kid, and he was very, very happy and very respectful of what we had done for him and his dad, and what we got going on here right now. So I'm sure he's going to have some pretty cool things to say about Corvette racing in that booth. And pretty neat deal. Pretty neat deal. So, we got housekeeping I think we should get into. Wes, Jesus, honestly, you know, I think when I leave home, it's going to be a little break because my wife stays home and I'm here, all right, so I don't have to listen. I got to tell you, it's almost a breath of fresh air to get home after having Wes in here. I mean, put him in a skirt, put him in pumps, and I think I'm back home. Where are you, Wes? Yeah, there he is, right there. Yeah. So we've got our Hershey event already underway, correct? How many went to Hershey this year? Okay, 1, 2, 3. All right, what does that tell you? You guys need to get. Who had a great time at Hershey this year? Was it pretty cool? Huh? Was it worth it? All right. It's a great caravan opportunity. It's a beautiful time of year. It's a great little town. The museum is cool. We got neat stuff planned. What are the dates this year? October 25 and 26. So it's before the Halloween week, whenever Halloween is, whether it's a weekday or whatever. It's got to be a weekday this year. It's pretty cool. And we've got a club event that is actually one of Lance's Corvette clubs is going to have an event on Sunday as well. So those of you who are coming along that we're just doing the Friday, Saturday thing with the poker run and all that stuff's been wildly successful. Everybody's had a great time. So think about it. You got enough time to mull it over, but it'd actually be 3 days of stuff. And Wes will have stuff up on the website at the museum, but it'll be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday deal. So it'll be a full weekend for you. And we use that to raise funds, obviously, to help support Corvette Museum, which is one of my responsibilities, make sure we keep that thing plugging along, and they're doing a great job. Anybody been in the simulator at the museum? Just a couple. All right. If you don't know, in the lobby of the museum, we purchased a simulator. It's a Corvette body, and it's pretty cool stuff. As a matter of fact, we're working on writing some new software for it, where we may actually have either a Daytona or a Le Mans track in there you get to choose from. So that's pretty cool new stuff that we're doing down there. With continuous improvement, we're redesigning lobbies and displays, and if you haven't been in a couple of years, I think you ought to make it a point to head there this coming summer and see if you can find your way to the Hershey event. So with that, drivers will be up when I get completed. They'll be judging cars out there, which they got 1.2 million out there to pick from. Absolutely amazing. And we'll talk about now anything happened in the past, anything going on right now, and anything in the future. So let's open it up. Who's got a question? Right here, right in front.
Okay.
That hand went up before I even got the words out.
I've been waiting since the roar.
I can tell by the look on your face.
How much does a right-hand side mirror cost? Does it have a lot of electronics in it? I watched that thing from the deck and I was sad.
Right? Yeah. Well, you want come up here for a minute. Come up here. I want you to tell the audience that he's talking about wanting to know how much a right-hand mirror costs on the race car, and he's going to tell you why he wants to know how much that costs. Tell him what you saw.
Okay, these two guys in a tire carrier cart were going out of the Yost pits towards their hauler, and the hauler, one guy got out and the other guy stayed in, sorta. They were playing with it, and instead of going right into an empty tire carrier, the one guy turns and left, and the number 3 vet is sitting there. And I was like, what the hell, you know? And he managed, and instead of just driving straight, where they wouldn't have messed up the hauler or whatever. So this guy, he clips the mirror, and I thought he was for sure he was going to do some serious body damage, but they managed to get the damn thing stopped. But it was all the Yost people, so.
You know, those Mazda guys, honestly, God, they can't even drive the tire. Anyway, tire car hits the car, rips the mirror right off the car. Now, it's just a young man driving. I happen to know the guy who runs Mazda Racing. He happened to be a very good friend of mine, John Doonan. I wasn't around in that area at that point in time. So anyway, the young man has to come up and apologize, and he's almost in tears. I mean, for having done it. You can imagine, I mean, you're a young guy, you're just starting in the sport, and you've just torn the mirror off the Corvette team's car. So he goes up, and Danny's there, and Mr. Binks, he says, I need to introduce himself. I was the guy who was driving the car, and tore the mirror off your car. And feeling really bad. Danny says tears are welling up in his eyes and coming down his cheeks. Danny says, if that's the worst thing you do in your career in motorsports, son, he says, you're going to be a mile ahead of me. He says, at the end of the day, when you're in the pit lane and you're around traffic and in the paddock, he says, I know you're always in a hurry, but you're not going to get there 2 seconds faster by driving fast than by driving safe. Just use it as a good lesson. Pay attention. This time it was only a mirror. It wasn't a small child or a fellow pit crew member. He said, and the kid took that and was just so relieved. He expected he was going to have to really take a licking, but we used it as a teaching moment, okay? I get home, I get a call about a week later. They're going to have a big team meeting at the Daytona event here. John Doonan calls me up and says, hey, he says, can you guys get me a mirror? I said, and I'm thinking, what? He said, well, we want to do up a Golden Mirror Award for the kid. I said, I'll do you better than that. I'm going to send you the mirror. I said, because we got it with all the wires and bullshit attached to it. I said, you can take the actual mirror and trophy it up any way you want it. And that's what they did. So, you know, that's the kind of family attitude that we got here at IMSA. It's, as I explained, and gets back to Dale Sr. At the end of his whole stint, everything we did here at Daytona, we were sitting down and having a little lunch after the race. He says, Doc, he says, I got to tell you, he said, of all the things I've done in my life, all the things I've accomplished, he said, this may have been the best racing experience I've ever had. I said, really? He goes, yeah. He said, it's just, this is like one big family. He says, teams helping out teams and guys chatting and working and friends. And he says, it's just not a, I said, Dale, I said, let me tell you what. I said, if we were racing for $1 million a weekend, it wouldn't be like this. Okay? This wouldn't be one happy family. All right? We'd be backstabbing every chance we had. At any rate, so it worked out well. The Mazda guys were happy. I haven't gotten a report back yet to what the kid did, but I guarantee you he's going to keep that mirror for the rest of his career. Good question. Next question. We got to have one more, unless they legalize marijuana in Florida. Guys are all just zoned out there. Yes, sir. Yeah. So the question is, can we do, where's Todd? Is Todd still in the room? No. Yeah, okay. Don't be hiding behind. The gentleman asked, can we do a more robust Corvette racing website? That's exactly right. Did you hear Mr. Christensen? He said, we can do anything, as all it takes is money. So, are we, come on up, let me introduce you. This is Todd Christensen, who spent the last 8 or 9 years at Corvette Marketing. We worked together before at GM Racing. We have a long and storied history together. He has a new role now at Corvette. So, have you been up here before? These people? All right. All right.
Yeah, I'm Doug's boss now. He doesn't know that. Right? You forgot to tell him that, so. So, yeah, hi everybody. It's been a long time since I've been to the Rolex, but yeah, I've been hiding in Detroit for the last 8 years trying to sell Corvettes, so thanks to all you guys do. We couldn't do what we do without you guys, so we appreciate it. And we're so proud of our Corvette team. You know, they're our premier marketing platform for the car, so they represent us so well, and really thank you guys here to support that. So, in regards to our websites, sure, we could do more on the website. We actually thank the Corvette Museum, who does a lot for the Corvette Racing website. That's the premier. We've really turned a lot of our attention to social media. You know, websites are good, but if you watch it, what people's behavior is, they're spending a lot more time on things like this on social media than they are plugging into a Chevy website. Most people that come to the Chevy website, what do you come there for? Shop for a car, right? They're spending less time playing around with the fun stuff and just getting down to business. So that's why we're not spending so much time making this beautiful, elaborate website. Nobody's going to look at it. We spend more time with our Team Chevy social media. So if you're not on Team Chevy Facebook, Corvette Racing Twitter, Chevrolet Performance, and then of course Corvette Facebook, that's really where we're spending efforts. And incidentally, just the Corvette Facebook channel is one of the few brands outside of Chevrolet that has its own channel. So Corvette's actually bigger than all the Chevrolet channels. So it just goes to show the power and passion that we have behind the Corvette brand. So anyway, thanks for all you guys do. We'll be around this weekend. Hope to see a few of you guys visit us at the Experience Center tomorrow and Sunday. So we'll be up there as well. Thanks, Doug.
Thank you, buddy. And by the way, learning from this would be a good opportunity to think about whether we get on the Corvette Museum website or something where we could list out all the avenues in which they can go to find this additional information. So that, you know, you wouldn't just tune in there and think, geez, there's nothing here, not knowing where to go. We can get the information out to all the Corral guys, and girls, by the way, I use that term generically, to let them know that these spots are available and we're going to have all the hot information. All right, good. I should be in marketing. Exactly. I just don't have enough time to run the whole damn world. But I try. In the back. We'll pass it up. I heard something about tire testing. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. How did tire testing go at Sebring? We haven't been to Sebring testing in a long, long time. Long time. Last time I think we were at Sebring testing anything might have been 2006. So, you know, I have no idea. You know, my computer broke about 4 months ago, so I have no idea what's out there. None whatsoever. None. Zero. Not a thing. Okay, next question. Yes, sir.
Still got your red Corvette?
Do I still have? Absolutely, I got my red Corvette. And by the way, it runs just fine in 12 below zero weather. Okay, I might add. But I'll tell you what I did, because those of you that have one know that the tires that come on it have a fairly narrow band of temperature in which they'll operate properly. So if it gets much below 50 degrees or 45 degrees, that tire doesn't want to work very well. Well, our boys at Michelin developed what they refer to as their all-season tire, which is, for lack of a better term, a treaded tire. And they asked me to give that a try. This was after last winter, so in springtime I put on the new all-season tire. And of course, you know, the big drawback, the big fear was, well, you know, you can put on that all-season tire, Doug, but it's not going to give you the performance of the tire that comes on the car. Well, you know what? You're right. But at the level that most of us are capable of driving, that is imperceptible. And you can drive this tire year-round. In light snow and limited traction situations, it's great. In wet weather, it's awesome. And it doesn't care what the temperature is. At 12 below zero, that tire's working just fine. Absolutely just fine. Something you might want to think about if you want to drive your car for more than a few months out of the year, if you live in a climate other than down here, although today would be a little bit of a problem. All right, as cold as it was this morning. That all-season tire is awesome. For those of us who aren't smart enough to leave the frozen tundras of the north, and you're going to drive your car all winter, that Alpine winter tire for the Corvette is unbelievable. The car drives like it's all-wheel drive. It starts, stops, turns. This is Michigan winter I'm talking about. Last year, Harlan and I drove he had a ZR1, I think, that he drove all winter long, along with me. I just have the production car. I can't be trusted with anything more power. And that winter tire is just unbelievable. There's no reason for you guys to leave your cars in the garage because of weather. There just isn't. Michelin makes a product that'll allow you to expand the use of your car. So give them a little round of applause.
And you can't tell the difference between traffic light and traffic light.
You just got them, didn't you?
Yeah.
I talked JJ into getting a set, and Lord knows he followed my direction. Who knows why? But he did. And how good are those tires?
Yeah, great.
Huh? Are you gonna ever have anything else on your car?
Nope.
No. And this is a guy who drives the living hell out of his car. So that's a testament. Thank you. You haven't dumped him yet, have you? I'm available. All right. Yes, sir. Hand in the back. How would I rate the track performance of? I can't. Which the all-season tire or the winter tire? How would I rate it? Oh, it's 10 out of 10. I'm telling you right now, unless you won SCCA National Solo Championship this year, you're not going to notice a damn bit of difference except the tire works all year round. I mean, Lee Willard did the design on the tire, and he'll tell you that he was pushing the boulder up the hill to try and get him to do it because they didn't want to develop a tire that diminished the performance of the car. They didn't want to offer a tire that was going to make the car perform at a lower level than which it was capable. And Lee fought him on that. And you know Lee Willard, he's at the race. I don't think he's in the tent now. But Lee fought that battle, and he won that battle, and he put that tire together. You're not giving up anything. Zero. Zero. In 99.9% of all cases. JK drives his car as hard as anybody, and he was reluctant. I convinced him to do it. Either that or I think, didn't you bid on an auction?
Well, you told me about the tires and then we won.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine that. hey, whatever works, okay? This guy back here is behind us set. Anyway, you want to give it a try. You're not giving up anything. I'll tell you what, you get them and you're unhappy with it, you come see me and I'll buy the tires off you. That's how confident I am in the tire. You can't beat that deal. Right in front of all these people.
And I'll pay for half of them.
Thank you. Good luck finding me. All right. Next question. What? I'm sorry. Was that Spanish you were speaking? Senor what? Next question. Yes, sir. Can I comment on the WEC events that we may be running? We have made no formal announcement about our participation at any additional WEC events. All right? I suspect that eventually we will issue a statement on whether we are or are not going to participate. Clearly, the next WEC event that's going to be run, I think, is at Sebring International Raceway, coincidentally on the same weekend that we're racing there with IMSA. So, I mean, if you were going to run a WEC race, that'd probably be a pretty good one to pick. And I think management right now is looking at that as probably a pretty good option. So I think there'll be an announcement coming shortly as to whether or not it fits our economic model. And that's really what drives all this stuff. You have to understand, WEC, satisfies a global need, but it's all over the damn planet, and it's wildly expensive to run. And the way GM is structured, we have different GM. I mean, Chevrolet has divisions and companies in China and South America. They have their own budgets. They have their own business plan. I mean, they operate all by themselves. Our program is funded by North America. So it's kind of silly to expect the North American guys to go support a race in China, okay, when we're not driving it. We don't even sell Corvettes in China, okay? So that's what makes it hard. You really have to get everybody together. Our deal in Shanghai was pretty cool. The Chinese guys were really happy to have us there, and they helped us make that happen. And that's how you do that. But to try and get 6 or 8 different countries pulling together to head in the same direction is not as easy as it sounds. So I'm sure there'll be an announcement pretty quick as to whether or not we're going to do that. I think it'd be cool, probably make some sense. So we'll keep our fingers crossed, and maybe we'll have a good outcome there. Jake.
Anything, Doug, that you found from the 18 season running on the cars that you've now improved on for the 19 season?
Okay, what have we learned on the cars to improve for this year? I think common sense would say after we've run this car for the length of time we had, from a mechanical perspective, it's really hard to get a sharper point on that pencil, okay? But where the improvements do come is this is a brand new Michelin tire. So everybody is starting on it with a clean sheet of paper. Nobody's been on this tire for that long. So any improvements that we've made, whether it was in the Roar qualifying or whatever, has come through our work with Michelin and the Michelin tire. In conjunction with that, our engine guys are at work 24 hours a day trying to get better performance and better fuel economy. I think we're making probably a little more power this year. Not a lot, but probably a little bit more. And I think we've gone a long way to help the fuel economy issue. And also the engine guys work on tailoring the shift patterns of the shift system in the car. And that helps fuel economy. It also helps maximize what we're doing. You're running in a very narrow power band. So it's all those little things. It's kind of, the death of 1,000 cuts. We're living by 1,000 cuts right now. Tiny little things that we're doing to try and just get incrementally better. And when you think, well, how important can that be? When you look at qualifying, I mean, what do we have, 8 cars within 0.4 of a second on a 3.2 mile track? I mean, that's pretty close. So any little bit you can do is going to make it better, and that's what we focused on. No big giant steps, but little tiny baby steps additively probably make us a little faster. don't forget, the other guys haven't been sitting home watching soap operas, all right? And they're working too. So I think it's going to be a pretty good race. We're not going to be the fastest guy out there, but it's not often that we are. And we've learned how to race. We pay special attention to running in darkness, reduced temperature, light fuel load, half fuel load, and worn tires. We work a lot of our setup to cater to that, because you spend that's where you can make up the ground on faster cars. If you can get better in limited performance situations, you can make up for what you lose in the maximum performance situations. And that's kind of like how we approach it. That's what carries us through here. Yes, sir. All right, the question is on the special, who went to the special edition car announcement thing? Pretty cool. We worked on that for over a year, trying to get all approvals and make all that happen. None of that is easy. The drivers were really excited about it. And the question is, are they going to get theirs? You betcha. Each one of them is going to get one as soon as they write a check. Yeah. Ain't no free ride where I'm working. No baby.
You bought yours. You bought yours.
No, I paid for mine too.
I remember that.
I'm not sure I didn't pay over retail, quite frankly. There's a whole nother story about not being able to get that car. I'll tell that. I'm not going to tell that till Harlan shows up one day. He's at another event. Yes, ma'am. Has the driver's schedule for the race been decided? Yeah, probably, but I have no idea what it is. All right, and you've heard me say this before. Who's starting in the car? Well, I think it's probably going to be Jan will be starting, and probably Oliver will be starting. Okay, that's just kind of like the way we do it. It doesn't really matter because all the guys are of equal capability. They're just not that critical. If there was a huge discrepancy in their performance level, then there'd probably be some strategy attached to who went in the car when. But there just isn't. There just isn't. I mean, we've got guys who have certain preferences to certain racetracks. You know, Tommy loves VIR, so Tommy will probably qualify at VIR because he really likes that place. He's got a lot of laps there. Oliver's good with that. You know, Jan likes it here. Let him qualify. Jan always likes Antonio to finish, right? Jan likes to have Antonio in the car at the end of the race. He thinks that gives them the best chance. We're good with that. So that's how we do it. There's not a whole lot of hand-wringing, arguing, and sleep lost over what the driver order is going to be, who's starting, who's qualifying, who's finishing.
I got one up.
Yes.
How in the hell did we win that championship at Rolex?
How did we?
Ford had said, everybody was saying Ford won the race when we had the wreck. I'm just figuring how the hell we did.
Yeah. JJ says, how did we end up winning all that stuff at Atlanta last year? You know, that car won the championship without having won one race. Yes, we can applaud for that. Now on its face you think, well, that's not to be too proud of. I said, well, actually it is. The year before, that same car, that 3 car, finished on the lead lap, either won or finishing on the lead lap in every single race in which it entered. 24 hours at Daytona, 12 hours at Sebring, 24 hours at Le Mans, 10 hours at Petit Le Mans, all the races in between, on the lead lap of every single race, every lap completed on the lead lap. How do you do that? I gotta tell you, for everything, I mean, I do this for a living and half of my entire life. I know how hard certain things are to do. It's hard to win the 24 hours of Le Mans. It's hard to win a championship. It's freaking impossible to finish on the lead lap of every race in a season as long as we run. I don't know how you do that. That's how we won a championship. All right? Consistency. You never give up. You do the best you can. You take what you got. And that's what the 3-car did last year. All right? They didn't finish on the lead lap of every race. That's impossible to do. But they were there all the time. And it came right down and it was the living proof of how good this team is When Antonio goes out on cold tires, stuffs it in the wall in turn 1, that, I can tell you right then, the Ford guys, the championship is ours. 5 minutes later, when that car comes back out on the track, they're thinking, well, we'll probably have to go to the end of the race to win it, but we think we still got it. With about 45 minutes left to go, they're thinking this can't be happening, and with 10 minutes, they were suicidal. Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, you ever see that movie? Who the hell are those guys? That's what they were saying. I mean, you can't do anything to demoralize a team more effectively than what we did to them at that race. And when you watch the 4 car, which also had to move up to get past the 67 car to drop it back a spot, teamwork like that is what wins it. That was one of the most remarkable performances that we've ever put forward. Thank you for recognizing that. I always feel good remembering that. Thank you. All right, we got a couple more before these drivers show up, don't we? What time are they coming, Jake? 2 o'clock? They're out there now? Yeah, okay. Well, we'll see who's last in the room. All right, we're going to do over-under on this. I'm going last in the room as Antonio. Okay? The next best bet would be Tommy. That's what I'm thinking. All right, we'll see what happens. All right, another question. Hand up. Yes, ma'am. How competitive are the team, the 3 car versus the 4 car, how competitive are they against each other, and do they share information? We'll answer the second part first. Everything is shared. Not only between the technical staff, the engineering guys, but the drivers themselves. They work very, very hard, always together, because we run different setups, you know, so we can expand our base of knowledge. So when we go out to qualify or practice, they're not running the same setup. They're running stuff completely different. And then we come back and share everything with them. How competitive are they with each other? This group, the pit crew guys and the driver guys, have a perfect balance of competitiveness as far as I'm concerned. And you only have to go back to Daytona in 2016. Okay? Yeah. Where for the last 25 minutes we just turned them loose and let them race. There's the perfect answer to your question. It's a high level of competitiveness, but it's a very respectful level of competitiveness. And that's how you foster the kind of performance and the outcomes that we do, is by developing your guys with that mindset. They're not worried about their job. They're worried about losing their job, okay? But they're not worried about losing it because how fast they go. They could be worried about losing it by how dumb they are, all right? And I think they pretty exemplified that they weren't that dumb that day. They knew that they would be held to pay should there be something go south. And in my position, I mean, I trusted them. And they knew I trusted them, and I don't think they wanted to let me down, they didn't want to let you down, they didn't want to let anybody else down, and they didn't want to get their ass fired. So they did a good job. They are respectfully competitive on the highest of levels. Very, very important, but they are also genuinely pleased when the other guy does really well, because they know it takes the team forward, and that keeps them employed. It's pretty cool dynamic. Anybody remember Mid-Ohio back in about 2002 or 2003 with Johnny O'Connell and Olivier Beretta, when we were racing ourselves? And people would say, oh, what a big deal, there's 2 Corvettes, the only 2 cars in the race today. You know, I said, you don't think there's competition there? I mean, they left the pit lane together and were banging on each other. I mean, it was the most replayed highlight on Sports Center, I think, for the last 10 years, showing that. It was pretty cool. I loved it. My bosses didn't think it was that cool. I liked it, because that's how you get better. And the fans loved it. And by the way, even though we were only racing against ourselves at that event, we probably had more fans there in Mid-Ohio than we ever had before. Because they knew what was going to happen. They knew they were going to see a good Corvette race. They love seeing the cars, they love hearing the cars, they love visiting with the teams. All the things that you guys are into, you know, you are all part of what we do. Our team is made up of the guys down in the pit lane and everybody under this tent. And that's the kind of ideals that we like to take forward with our customer base. We have a customer base that is unequaled in this business. Every other manufacturer in the world, all right, covets what you guys have developed. They truly do. I'm in meetings with them all the time, and they just shake their head. Just shake their head at what you guys have achieved. All right, here we go. Let's see who's here. Okay. Yep. 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many drivers do we have for this race? 6. Who's missing? Now you know why I'm the damn boss. We had little wagers who was going to be last. Yeah. And Doug won, as usual. Okay, I picked the right horse. You were my second pick. But second pick. I was pretty confident in my first pick. Well, he did come up with you guys, didn't he? So he's still wandering around out there? Oh, here he comes right now. Antonio? You notice the other guys are here, sitting down. You made me look really good, buddy. Because we had a bet as who was going to be last coming in. And I picked you. We talked about this before we entered. Antonio has, at this race, we'll introduce him first, from Madrid, Spain, Antonio Garcia. Who's here at this race with his wife and his 2 little kids. He's got a little boy and a little girl, okay? And I want to tell you, anybody who doesn't think that DNA is real needs to see these 2 kids. It is scary, folks, because they are absolute mini-me's. They are absolutely darling little guys. I love those 2. Thank you, Antonio. Next, we've got from Denmark, okay, what I always refer to, and you know what I'm about to say, the second fastest Magnuson in the world, okay? Jan Magnuson, because Kevin Magnuson, who is the fastest Magnuson in the world, is off doing Formula 1 stuff for the Haas USA Formula 1 team, all right? For which Jan is very grateful because he's getting to retire here in the next few years and he's planning on living off his kid. I think it's a pretty good plan. I'm trying to figure out how I can weasel my way into the deal as well. Next, we have, I don't want to call these guys part-time guys because they're actually full-time Corvette guys, but they fill in at the long races for us and doing a remarkable job. And we struck up a relationship back when these were lead drivers on the Audi LMP team with my good buddy Dr. Ulrich. Mike Rockenfeller. You haven't won this race yet, have you? How many times? Where's the watch? To which he says, I got 2 wrists, Doug. Yeah, exactly. Mikey, thank you, buddy. Our US-based guy, who's also here with his new wife, okay, doing it in true Corvette form. The guy goes off, it was Hawaii, wasn't it? Yeah. He decides he's going to go to Hawaii, a little vacation before the season starts. Then while he's over there, he kind of posts out, oh, by the way, I just got married. Now, having done that a few times myself, I can tell you this is the way to do it. Don't tell anybody, don't invite anybody, just get it done and then come home and live with the results. Great job, Tommy. The guy who has recorded more laps in the seat of a Corvette race car than any human in history. I want you to think about this. Aside from him being, well, almost Grandpa H. He's got a daughter who's getting up there, right? Yeah, I know you're excited when she starts dating and then she's going to be getting married. You get to pay for that, okay? Yep, and then you got the grandkids running around while they're out having a good time. You're changing diapers again. Yep, exactly. This guy behind me has won 50 races in a Corvette. 50. I can tell you right now that I haven't done the research. I would challenge any of the drivers in this race to put forth to me a study that says I've won 50 races in my career in everything I've ever driven. He's won 50 in a Corvette. Oliver, that is an outstanding accomplishment, truly. Thank you. And he better have a few more left in him. That's all I'm saying. Last but not least, my Swiss buddy. This guy speaks 17 different languages because he lives in a country that can't figure out what their official language is. Okay? Not sure if it's French, we're not sure if it's German, we're not sure if it's Italian. I do some English, he does it all. He does it all, same way he does it behind the wheel. Marcel Foster. I can tell you this right now, up and down that paddock, if somebody just said, Doug, you got a great team of guys, go ahead, you have your pick. Pick anybody else. I would say there's nobody here I want to pick. I can tell you right now, we have, in my world, the best 6 guys that are racing at this event today. And that includes Alonso and all the rest of them. Which, by the way, important point, Alonso raced against this guy on the end. I don't have to tell you whose ass took the beating, and it wasn't Antonio. He slapped Alonso silly in the early days of Formula racing. Am I right? Yes, he says, yes, you are right. Yeah. So with that, I want to thank you guys. Again, if I haven't thanked enough already, we can't do this without you. You are truly our team. Our management is here. We record everything that goes on from the standpoint of number of attendants, vehicles. When you sign up on the computers, we watch what you buy for a year, kind of like the NSA, listening to your phone calls. This is a very productive for us as a Corvette brand, and we couldn't have more fun than doing it with people like yourselves. And I want to thank you for that. So with that, we'll close. We're going to have a great race. Stay warm, have fun.